Goldberg's legacy will forever be tied to that monumental 170-plus win streak in WCW. That is, until Kevin Nash gave him a rather underwhelming defeat at Starcade 98. He was WCW's main man for the majority of 98, even pulling in a staggering 40,000-strong crowd at the Georgia Dome for the biggest Nitro ever. That's where he nabbed the world title from Hulk Hogan. But if you peel back all that buzz, the media blitz, and his supersized persona, Goldberg's wrestling chops seem a bit, well, limited. Sure, he had the muscle and brawn of a wrestler, but did he truly possess any real wrestling ability? Let's find out why Goldberg is the biggest fraud in WWE history. Goldberg started in wrestling with no more training than a crash course in body slams and headlocks. Sure, it's not unheard of for a guy to ride a gimmick all the way to the top. The Ultimate Warrior did it. So did Hulk Hogan, to a degree. But Goldberg's case, it's a whole other league. He was put on top straight from day one when guys like Chris Jericho and Booker T were working their butts off. When Goldberg first stepped into the WCW ring back in '97, he quickly made a name for himself as the guy who could mop the floor with anyone in no time flat. The moment his name was dropped, the announcers were quick to hype up his NFL background and his unbeaten streak. The man blitzed through his competition like a hot knife through butter. His early matches were more sprint than marathon, lasting barely a minute. But every time he squashed another hopeful, the legend of Bill Goldberg grew. This went on for years, with Goldberg notching up a disputed 173 victories before Kevin Nash, with a surprise zap from a taser gun, took him down.
1, 2, 3! The streak is over! And we have a new world champion! Kevin Nash is crowned World Heavyweight Champion!
True fans question the legitimacy of this streak, but casual viewers buy it. It's all part of the Goldberg allure. When it comes to competition, Goldberg's streak might be a little overblown. He wasn't outclassing the big names. He was beating the same underdogs over and over again, like the Giant, who suffered a mind-boggling 24 losses to Goldberg. But Goldberg wasn't meant to be a technical master. He was supposed to be the epitome of brute force. Turns out the reason Goldberg always had these quick matches is that he didn't actually have much wrestling know-how, a fact not lost on his peers behind the scenes. You'd think that Goldberg, one of the biggest names in wrestling, would be a favorite among his peers, but that wasn't the case. Even in his last WWE run, where he was drawing large crowds, he wasn't exactly beloved among the hardcore wrestling community. Goldberg had a knack for rubbing people the wrong way, both in his early career and even now. There are quite a few wrestlers, both from his era and today, who have had issues with Goldberg. Take a look at February '98, when Goldberg was in the middle of his legendary undefeated streak. He squared off against Lord Steven Regal in a match that lasted longer than most Goldberg bouts. Regal got in several hard hits, and was later accused of being rough on Goldberg, who was still a novice. Regal was released from WCW shortly after that match. When Goldberg hopped onto the WWE wagon, he couldn't quite hit the high note like he did in WCW. It's not that he didn't leave a dent, the man was a wrecking ball, but the echo wasn't as loud. Now, word on the street was Goldberg packed a bit too much punch. Wrestling's a tough gig, but these guys trust each other not to land in an ER. But Goldberg, he had a reputation for going harder than most. The hitman Bret Hart can vouch for that, since one kick from Goldberg not only sent him into retirement, but also almost killed him. Even to this day, whenever someone asks Bret about his retirement, he blames it on Goldberg. And Hart has every reason to be angry.
Bill Goldberg, who kicked me in the head, never even thought about it 8 months later.
Guys like Goldberg that can kick somebody and ruin his career in 2 seconds.
You know, he should be in the Hall of Shame.
He's one of the best pro wrestlers to have ever stepped into the ring. He stayed injury-free most of his career and had at least a decade left in the ring. But one mistake from Goldberg brought all that crashing down. After WWE bought WCW, it was only a matter of time before Goldberg signed with the company. Even though years had passed since his wrestling debut, Goldberg's wrestling style never changed. He was still only capable of doing 5-minute squash matches, and anytime he was asked to be even a little competitive, Goldberg would stumble. Fast forward a couple of years to a convention where Goldberg and Triple H were both invited. A confrontation erupted, with Goldberg hurling insults and threats at Triple H, apparently triggered by past comments about Goldberg's lack of experience and history of injuries. Not long after, on the first season of Tough Enough, Triple H lashed out at Goldberg, even berating a rookie who mentioned Goldberg as his favorite wrestler. Triple H brought up Goldberg's short tenure in the business and his frequent injuries, further straining their relationship. Years later on Talk Is Jericho, Goldberg confirmed the bad blood between the two, even saying that Triple H made his first stint with WWE harder than it should have been. But let's talk about his infamous feud with Brock Lesnar. By the time we reached WrestleMania 20, word got out that both Goldberg and Brock were planning to exit the company. The fans, displeased with this development, booed both wrestlers throughout their match. Goldberg's return in 2016 did little to improve matters. Despite his seniority, he failed to uplift the young talent, ignoring his responsibility to help shape the future of the industry. A series of poor choices followed. Kevin Owens' only Universal Championship in 2016 and his entertaining segments with Chris Jericho were a hit. They should have been the main event at WrestleMania in 2017, but McMahon had other plans after Goldberg's return. He asked for a title in his contract, which meant Owens had to forfeit his title to Goldberg at Fastlane 2017 in a quick, almost insulting defeat.
With a jackhammer! Here's the cover! Goldberg's the Universal Champion!
New Universal Champion, Goldberg!
Remember when he almost paralyzed The Undertaker trying to hit the jackhammer? Or how he basically killed the Fiend's character? Yeah.
He will! Jackhammer! Cover by Goldberg! Shoulders down! He did it!
Goldberg hadn't learned his lesson. Several bad feuds, bad matches, and terrible title reigns later, Goldberg was out of the company again at the end of 2022. The swift rise of Goldberg in the wrestling industry, particularly in WCW, raises some eyebrows when analyzed closely. While some wrestlers earn their stripes in smaller promotions before hitting the big leagues, Goldberg's career trajectory was dramatically different. His quick ascension from battling Raven for the US title to facing off against Hulk Hogan, the world champion, sparks a question. Was this meteoric rise purely a product of his exceptional talent, or was there an orchestrated push from WCW management? Further scrutiny comes from Goldberg's performance during his WWE stint, which failed to replicate the success he achieved in WCW. Some may argue that this was due to Vince McMahon's reluctance to promote stars who were primarily built up by WCW. But here lies another consideration. A truly talented superstar can shine irrespective of the promotion or the management's favor. They are defined by their ability to captivate audiences across different platforms. And Goldberg's drop in career trajectory in the WWE hints towards a reliance on WCW's promotional tactics, rather than his individual talent. Moreover, the reaction of Goldberg's fan base to his WWE departure paints a telling picture. Fan support dwindled significantly, indicating their dissatisfaction with Goldberg's overall performance. A truly impactful star often retains their fan base, irrespective of their affiliation. In Goldberg's case, the marked loss of fan support questions his enduring impact and appeal in the sport.